I like how you set up expectations at the beginning and you were clear about the rubric. I don't address always the way things are going to be graded, or I don't have explicit expectations like written out like that or go over them generally that much. So that's something really good I could start implementing.
So thanks for meeting with me again, Mark. I know it's been a few weeks and I have had time to go through all of the student work, and we've looked at how the students did and areas of success and areas that point to some misconceptions that hopefully we can address in this new semester. One of the things I was really surprised by was the difference in periods 3 and 4 and the strategies that they were willing to attempt, especially on problems 4. And I was thinking about what could have caused that, and I thought I actually might have been the engagement piece kind of in the UDL when I was going over the amount of time I let students have to work together as a group and brainstorm that list that we put on the board. I know the first period we worked with, we felt that maybe that was too much. Maybe I gave them too many reminders. We had kind of a whole whiteboard full of ideas and strategies they could try. And when we talked afterward before the next period, it sounded like maybe, you had an understanding that they probably didn't need that much, that scaffolding. So we cut out some of that time, almost in half, so that they would have more time to work on the task, because the drawback was the first period, they got through only a couple problems and then really had to finish the rest independently. But when I looked at their work, the period where we spent that long amount of time giving them opportunities to work as a group, putting more strategies on the board, those were the kids who tried the T-charts, tried the graphs, not necessarily correctly, but they were making an attempt on problem number 4 to see when that intersection would be for the minute and monthly plan. Another thing I noticed when I was looking at the students, not just their work, but then also today in class, they really struggled over the concept of dependent and independent variable. They really seemed like that was not something that they had kind of a deep level of understanding about. They knew the y equals mx plus b, but they couldn't tell me that y was dependent and x was independent, or y. So my thoughts were, and I don't know, maybe you have other ideas as well, maybe it's just, do you feel like you've been explicit in using those with students, or do you feel like you've referred more just to the variable?
I feel like I have not been explicit in introducing independent and dependent variables. The problems in the textbook that we're using are very much based in reality, and we tend to discuss the problems in the realistic terms, and I haven't been introducing abstract vocabulary maybe as much as I would in a traditional math course.
Right.
So I don't know if I've really introduced those concepts to them or really reinforced those the way that I should, independent and dependent variable.
So do you think there would be a way, I know that we're doing a new pilot now, do you think there would be a way just when you're using the problems that those pilot provides to just, even if they don't tell you to, just kind of, and this is the dependent variable because, and this is the independent variable because, could you kind of sneak those in even if it wasn't?
Yeah, and it's very easy, I think, to just throw that vocabulary in. I don't necessarily have to have a whole period where we copy that vocabulary, but just every time we go over a problem of whatever type, just, that's it. And just hearing it over and over again, that's something I should definitely do more often. And in my time as a EL teacher, I've learned that you should use vocabulary whether the students understand that vocabulary now or not, because just hearing it, they get familiar to hearing terms.
Yeah,
So,
no, I think
good tip.
that.
Thank you.
And that's what's great about doing these formative assessments and really looking at each problem, because you wouldn't have known that, or I wouldn't have known that if I didn't really take a deep look at what the student results indicated instead of just their point values. So I think that's one of the great things about using formative pieces, is you can have those little mini aha moments, just like the decimals, just so simple, and you would assume they've been doing money since basically kindergarten, that you wouldn't necessarily need to review that when something's written as cents and it's a problem that involves money, how do we write cents? But I saw almost half the students really not in every single problem rewriting as the 0.24 and instead 24 as a whole number. My last thoughts really were related to problems 5 and 6. That's where, 2 problems but whole page, because we really wanted them to explain, show, and that's where I saw kind of, well, part of it, just a lack of perseverance. So students, they were tired, they didn't get to it, they didn't go back and get to it when they gave them the opportunity to finish it as homework. That was a small component, but a lot did try, and a lot had correct thinking, especially on number 5. A lot did tell me that it was the monthly plan that would be better than the unlimited plan because it was either cheaper or because he didn't use very many minutes, which in and of itself is not a specific quantity, right? Didn't use very many minutes. We don't know. He might have used 999, which isn't necessarily not very many, but they had the right idea. I could tell that they understood the problem. They understood that they were being charged per minute. They understood that there came a point where one would outweigh the other and unlimited wasn't always correct. But there was really a lack of justification through mathematics. So showing me the specific numerical values that justified their answer. And I was thinking, that's a great place where we could work on that through exit cards, warm-up problems, and really, putting something, just this problem itself, number 5, could have been put up with the 3 different plan types, and the students could work in their groups first, and even maybe as a scaffolded problem. So first tell me which one's better, and then, okay, now what I'm looking for is everyone to have mathematics to justify it. If you didn't use that the first time, let's go back and add in the math. And that can probably be done with any problem that comes from your new pilot. It doesn't necessarily have to be you making up the question, but really finding ways to have the students not only analyze a problem and justify their thinking, but use mathematics to justify their thinking, because I think that's what the Common Core is all about. It wants them to have both components of mathematical practices. So is there a way you think that that could be included a little bit more? I know we just started the pilot on Monday, so.
Definitely it can. I think this is the whole trick of the Common Core, is now we have problems like this. And even if they could do the math, just students are really uncomfortable with this idea of explaining and writing and justifying their answers using math. So this is something, it's a continual work in progress in math classes, I think. Everybody's kind of trying to figure this piece out.
Absolutely.